All right.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, for the Prosperity Package meeting for today. I don't think we have an agenda per se. Is that right? We're just going to follow up on our last discussions. Is that Haley?
Well, I asked Haley put together just a brief agenda just before the meeting that we talked about, and neighborhood leaders was obviously something that y'all wanted to talk about, and didn't know if you wanted to have another conversation on participatory budgeting. Those are two things that we thought of.
Okay. Well, we'll move right along with the neighborhood leaders, and I didn't see the agenda, so I can't comment. So I guess my point, were there any minutes or notes from the last meeting?
And it looks like Haley's having a low bandwidth issue, but yeah, I think she did put together some of the points from the last meeting.
Okay. Well, I didn't see that either. So we will table those, and we'll move right on forward. Blaine, thank you for sending the information Friday. I know last week was a busy week for you. I don't know if Russell and Mike got to see everything, especially the MOU. But I'm going to, okay, all right. I'm going to lead off with some thoughts, and Mike and Russell, you can chime in or jump in where do you, and we can go from there. Is that okay? Since we don't have an agenda in front of us, is that okay, Mike and
Works for me.
and
Sure.
Russell?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Your silence means okay. Neighborhood leaders. One of the things I want us to revisit, and today would not be a good time to do it, but now you have the copies of the MOU. I did talk to Judd months ago about the MOU. We both agree it's very broad, and it does not capture in fine detail. It could be tightened up a little bit. And what I am suggesting is that we look at that MOU and see if we can make some modifications if needed by January, a January meeting. Blaine, that is a recommendation. Do you see a problem with something like that?
Well, so I just want to be clear. So this was I guess a contract MOU, if you will, that was approved by the mayor and commission, and they would be the ones to alter that. So it could be a recommendation from this committee to go back to the full mayor and commission. I think, Commissioner Thornton, that it seems like they're not trying to put a lot on the January agenda. That'd be up to the mayor. They were trying not to have a lot going on at that meeting.
Well, what I suspect is I'm not going to be ready. I don't think we'll be ready to make a recommendation. I just think that this committee could make, I'm not making a recommendation to the full commission. I'm making a recommendation for this committee to look at that MOU and tweak it if need be. I'm not suggesting anything go to the full commission.
Well, I don't think the committee has the authority to change, just like staff, a standing agreement that was approved by the mayor and commission.
Okay, and again, I'm not trying to change anything. I'm just trying to get some thoughts. So when we do go to the mayor and commission, we'll have some ideas or recommendations. I'm not suggesting that we change it. I am suggesting to gather some ideas and thoughts. And it may not it may not need nothing changed. That's my, you just sent that to us on Friday. I know Mike and Russell have not looked at it or had to, to digest it. I ain't gonna say not look at it.
I did send it the week before. It was just an attachment of the agenda item. But you're right. You really haven't had a chance to go through it.
So if that's okay with you and Russell, that could be our assignment for January.
Yep. And can I add something to that, Ovita, that maybe we could also look at that might help too? Blaine, you might be able to help with this. I remember Haley, when we first started talking about the prosperity package, had a nice little chart that had some steps and then output. I mean, I guess I'm trying to get to a place where I remember at the beginning of this whole process, we talked about evaluation. I mean, how are we evaluating what the work that's being done with the neighborhood leaders and what the outputs are and whether or not those outputs are what. And I don't know that we ever gave any clear expectations of what we wanted from the neighborhood leaders program, and maybe that's something that Terrace could help us with is some sort of what's the game plan of the neighborhood leaders and what are their expectations and their outputs. So I think all of that would tie in nicely with an MOU discussion if there are changes with that. I mean, we kind of have to know what we're looking at and see where we are in an evaluation process of the whole program. And in January probably would be coming up on a year, I think, of having the program, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. It was the December 2019 commission meeting when you approved it. Now, of course, it took them some months to ramp up and get everybody hired, but
Right.
it was a year ago, yes, sir, when y'all approved that.
But you see where I'm going. It'd be nice to have some sort of evaluation, see what the outputs have been and what the expectations, if they're matching whatever our expectations were, and maybe so.
That'd be very helpful, especially with the expectations. That then we can define outputs around the expectations.
Ovita, does that sound all right to you? But can we have that?
It sounds exactly where we need to be heading to. I think that before COVID, we would be doing what we're saying now. If COVID would not have hit, I think we would have tweaked this. And so, yeah, I'm totally in agreement. We know that, and maybe you don't know, but the community is looking at us. And I am very, very committed that if we put this together, that it should be functional and we should be able to do an elevator conversation on what the neighborhood leaders are doing and have done. And I do, and I'm gonna say this, and I know somebody might get a little antsy about it. Delivering food is not $850,000 worth of service. Okay, now you've done some other things. Let's build on that. One of the things, if we're going to go in this route, Blaine, maybe you could help with this, or Haley. I would like to get some type of input, and we've been doing this with our local government offices. I would like to get some type of input from the neighborhood leaders, whether it is a meeting or a survey. But by January, I would like to hear from the people who are on the ground and not just a written report that's interpreted. Blaine, can you speak to that, or Haley, speak to that?
And I want to make sure I heard you correctly, Commissioner Thornton. So you were saying that you wanted more of a report on from the people on the ground?
Yeah, I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear what they have to say, the neighborhood leaders. And I know we get. How often do we get reports, Haley? Because from my recollection, I think we've only gotten two. But I'm wondering, are they how often are you getting them, Haley?
We get reports monthly. And just to clarify, are you looking for not a written report? Did I hear that correctly? Or
no, I'm looking for on this last recommendation. I would like to have some type of survey from the neighborhood leaders, where they stand, what they're feeling, what they're saying. I want to hear from them. And the reason why is because we're getting more. I think we're getting to be good when we revisit this MOU to make sure we're hearing both parts. And this is nothing new for the local government. We have been questioning or surveying folk in departments as we do our regular work. So this is nothing new, but it may be something new that we have to develop for the neighborhood leaders to get the kind of information that is going on day to day. So I guess what I'm asking, Blaine, is if we could develop a questionnaire. I would love to have a Zoom meeting or a face-to-face meeting with the neighborhood leaders, but that might not be the goal. Might not get us to the goal we want to get to. So can we develop some kind of monkey survey, doodle survey for the neighborhood leaders?
We can certainly develop a survey, but it's going to depend on the questions you want to ask. So that's something that we would like some direction on.
I really just thought about this today. So, and I know we want to be transparent, but I could ask the committee and myself and Terrence if they want to submit some questions to you, and you can vet them to get the best possible information. Is that a good plan? Or the other commissioners might have questions. Can we send something to you, Blaine?
Sure.
Or Haley? So as we move forward, and this is all about accountability and a community that is watching us. That's it. I know that there have been some thoughts about what I think, and it's not about me. But what is about me is I am behind this, the neighborhood leaders 100%, but I need to be able to answer questions when they come to me. So I'm gonna lead into one more suggestion. No. Let me be clear where we are now. The committee is going to look at the MOU and see if it needs tightening up, and not to send anything to the full commission. This is information only, and we're doing that by January. We are going to look to Haley's office and I guess Terrence's office for some clear outcomes and metrics and evaluation by January. And to be included, we want to have a survey or a questionnaire for the neighborhood leaders and how they see this job is working. Are those the three things that we can agree on, or did I misread it?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Russell, you're thinking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Russell?
Yep, it's all good.
And so my last thing, which may not happen until January also, because I know we're still in COVID season. The holidays are coming up, but I wish we could get it before January, but January seems to be the magic month. I would like to see Terrace a paragraph or a process on how neighborhood leaders can communicate more with their commissioners. It seems that we're doing a lot for everybody else, and some commissioners don't even know who their neighborhood leader is. If we can do that and build that relationship between the neighborhood leaders and commissioners, it will help the commissioners to know what is going on in their area that they may or may not know of. So I would like to suggest that we talk about how the neighborhood leaders connect to the commissioners in that area. Every commissioner does not have a neighborhood leader. I totally get that, but it should be very generic, that it could fit in anybody's zone.
Absolutely. I get that.
I think for me, I want to rule out any rumors that I have a problem with neighborhood leaders, and I've heard that in the community. I'm gonna clear that up right now. But what I do have a problem with is not knowing and not being able to answer taxpayers what's going on. The graph that Blaine, you showed last week, for $850,000, it should have been a little bit more to it, but again, I'll chalk all this off with the COVID. I don't know how Mike, or I see that Russell stepped away, but I don't want to manipulate this conversation. But is there anything that you guys want to say at this point? Because I've gotten my 4 issues out.
I think the evaluation, Ovita, will help us see a lot and see where we need to go, and help us address some of the questions that you've raised. So I think that'll be key.
I guess my point now is this is the other thing is, and Blaine, you can help me with this. I know that there have been financial contributions made to Family Connection in connection to neighborhood leaders that technically has nothing to do with us as a local government. I mean, if somebody wants to donate towards a neighborhood leader project, that has nothing to do with us per se, right?
I may not understand. So we got the MOU and we pay in installments for those services, and you're talking about donations from the community towards those efforts?
Donation, yes. That's fully, even though they may say earmark for neighborhood leaders, but because it's gone to Family Connection, those are just, in other words, we do not have no reason to question those dollars.
If those funds are from a private party to Family Connection, that's not really part of our engagement, I don't think.
Okay, even if it's earmarked with neighborhood leaders, with that, I'm just telling you what's rumored out there. So
okay, that's fair. Well, the way that I understand the way the budget was set up, that the money that the mayor and commission pay should be for the full time of the neighborhood leaders. And let's face it too, it's not an 8 to 5 job. I mean, it's where you see people and you meet them where they are and when you meet them. So there shouldn't, and I'll defer to Terrace and Tim, but there shouldn't be excess things these individuals should be doing beyond the MOU. I mean, other than if it's helpful, if it's serving the MOU, but not for other parties. And Terrace, I'll turn it over to you because I don't know the answer. That's what I would think.
You're right, Blaine. We recently have gotten a partnership. We're partnering with Habitat for Humanity and the Athens Neighborhood Health Center to confirm, promote, schedule the mobile testing unit in our zones, and stipends will be received for that.
Oh, no. I think that is perfect. I'm talking about other donations, and maybe that's where misinformation comes from. Maybe the other donations that I think have come through other sources may not have been. And like I said, I don't want to make this so publicly and let me think about how to ask that question.
Well, Ms. Ovita, I can
A little better without putting Terrace on the spot right now, if that's okay.
I was going to say, Commissioner Thornton, I could respond to that. We did have a donor, a private donor who donated and asked for a community match to buy supplies that the neighborhood leaders have been able to distribute to residents based on their need. But that, of course, we don't receive that directly, though those funds were specifically earmarked for supplies, and that's we've purchased anything from hygiene, just those specific items that are housed at the cotton press that our neighborhood leaders are using. That's our distribution center. So aside from that, there's nothing. But if you want, we could speak offline. I mean, speak different about it.
How much was that donation?
I think in the donor, a little over 12, and then the community matched it. There were other donors who matched it. So we ended up getting over about 26,000 to buy supplies, and we've pretty much exhausted that buying supplies for the distribution site.
Okay. Okay. And again, it's just like I said, everything kind of blows in the community, and I'd rather just come right out and ask you what I'm hearing about. And my last thing is, well, no, we'll wait till January on that. Kelly has not resent us a mission statement, and my thought is I'm going to just draft up something, send it to the mayor to see if it's okay, because I do think we need to have a mission statement. Is that okay, Blaine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we got a lot to plan for in January. I do want to commend the neighborhood leaders on the work that they have done. I do want to ask Mike and Russell to look at the information that Tim answered for us several months ago. I resent it today because I think that is also going to help us redirect the neighborhood leaders that it's more effective. Folk want to know where their dollars are going to, and we need to be able to answer it. So Mike and Russell, please look at your stuff. I know we got a lot going on, but by January, so we won't do no meeting in December. We will work on the MOU. We will work on the MOU. We're going to work on the questionnaire for neighborhood leaders. We're going to work on the mission statement, and we're going to work on outcomes and an evaluation tool. Now, if I'm asking something that sounds like it is out of our realm, please, Terrace, Blaine or Haley, please speak up.
So, sorry, Elaine.
No, I was just going to say, on the mission statement that, the charge to the committee, if you will, is the mayor, but there's nothing to say that y'all can't make suggestions to the mayor on that for sure. Sorry, Haley, go ahead. Well, and I do have one thing, Commissioner Thornton, before we leave the neighborhood leaders topic. But Haley, please go ahead so I don't cut you off.
I was just going to add some context and make sure I understand what we're looking for ahead of things. So it sounds like we would look for what we do often with like a year-end or annual report to compile what's been done with this previous funding year, come up with a chart to look at things in terms of outputs and outcomes, and then looking ahead. So this is where I think things are going to get a little bit complicated in terms of our timeline. My understanding, and I'll double check this, but I think the current contract ends December 31st. And so this would be the time that we are drafting or making changes for next year's contract.
Well, and I was going to address that. That's what I was going to bring up. So thank you, Haley. So one thing that we absolutely have to do is get the contract and the budget on the same cycle. Because this contract was approved in December of 2019, took effect in January. And then, of course, y'all approved the budget in July. And the contract set to automatically renew back in July. Y'all approved another year of funding. And so I'm sure that that Family Connection would agree to whatever, continuing this for however long, making tweaks to it. Of course, the mayor and commission would have to approve that. So I think this is, this is what we need to be working on. But I want, this can run, we can terminate this contract at any time with 30 days notice. So if you want to make a midstream, that's what, creating a contract midstream in the budget process kind of gets us off. We got a couple of federal grants like that as well that we have to come back, and you'll see those, a couple of those actually in this upcoming agenda cycle. So all that being said, I think this is good. This is the time to do this. And depending on what you come up with, either we can go ahead and ask the mayor and commission to change this in February, or we can, and then start a new contract in July if you want to continue that, and then get that going with the budget so that every budget year we're coming up and perhaps reevaluating that. Does that make sense, Commissioner Thornton?
Yeah, that makes really good sense. And I'm glad you mentioned about the 30-day. If we don't want to continue the contract, maybe that means we'll get a little motivated on both ends if this is a good program. So yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. I know I spoke to another commissioner, and the thought was that it takes a year or two to really get a program off the ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm in agreement with that. But we're at the year now, and I know we did COVID, but now we need to make this work that in such a way that it benefits our taxpayer dollars. And so I'm giving into, for me, and I guess because of my background and the work I've done, it's different for me, but I just something new. I totally get it. So if this is the right time to answer these questions that I've laid out and these recommendations that we as the committee, we can move forward. Did I answer your question, Haley? Haley?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I? Okay. I think what we'll do, Blaine, is and Terrace, things that any of us, the commission has, and help me out, Blaine. We can open this suggestions and questions to all of the commission as information gathering. I think, right?
Absolutely.
We can just some questions, or concerns,
Yes.
just shoot them to you, to Haley. Is that good, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, no, please go ahead and forward them to me, and we'll put together a survey instrument. And and as much as actual questions, Commissioner Thornton, just general things you want to know, and we can help you with that too. And we can send out a draft of the questionnaire back to this committee for y'all to take a look at, and then we can distribute it to the commissioners and to the neighborhood leaders. And bring it back, and as staff, we can put together the kind of consolidate all the answers and give you something back.
That sounds like the direction I would feel comfortable going in. And I will ask Terrace, does she have any questions from us as commissioners?
No, I don't. I appreciate the clarity, and I look forward to getting the questions.
Okay.
So,
Where else? Russell, anything?
No,
Hey,
I'm
Russell.
good.
Mike, anything?
Nope, no, good on my end.
Okay. With that, then, I don't want to give you too much to do, Haley, but could you kind of type this up and send it to us? I don't want to wait until January to get it. Could you send us our decision and where we were, and we'll move forward. Is that okay with everybody? So with that, then, can I call for a motion to adjourn?
Well, Commissioner Thornton, if I not to get ahead of any of the commissioners,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
You had something else to say. I apologize. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But
Adjourn.
thanks, Commissioner Amby. Well, just because you asked, Commissioner Thornton, and we did briefly discuss it at the retreat about participatory budgeting.
Oh, God, yes.
So, the thought is, as we talked about, there's a lot of competing priorities, and of course, it'd be up to the commission to finalize and ultimately approve the budget. It may be the year to do it if that's what y'all want to do with the resources, and we'll get to that point. At this stage, as staff, the Durham model, which y'all heard, is most likely what we would model it on. And so I don't know if it's most appropriate for this committee as a subcommittee of the commission to talk about those types of concepts. But we're glad to do it, however you want to do it. But that's where we left it. And as I told you when we were talking last week, we created a placeholder in sort of the things that we're watching for FY22 that we'd like to do, depending on what the resources are. So I just wanted to say that, and however y'all want to discuss that, we're up for it.
This sounds like a full commission topic to me.
Sure.
Well, I still think, no, I mean, I just disagree. I think that we can make recommendations like everything else, and because it will get dissected in a full commission. My question to you, Blaine, is if we start thinking in line for something, when would this conversation be applicable?
Well, definitely, as you would know, in May, but you'd really want to be having that before then, especially as it just depends on when you want to implement the program. You could say, we want to start this process, and if you'll remember Durham, it took them a while to build it and get the people involved and trained up and educated, and then so I think they did it like over 2 years, and then every 2 years they did it from then on out, and there were staff people involved and all that. So I think the important thing, what I suspect from the commission, that conceptually it's something that everybody's interested in, but there wasn't a real, we brought to you what we find at different municipalities. Obviously there's variance for any community that you go to, but Durham was one that Josh was assistant manager Edwards was familiar with, and we brought to you. And that seems to be a viable model that we would recommend as staff.
I would like to think again, following following your recommendations, I would really like for this committee to be that subcommittee of the commission. And presentation was excellent. And I would like to begin these talks or conversations again, probably in January, February as a committee. So we'll have enough time to get it to the full commission, maybe for a work session.
And that might be something, and commit to Commissioner Hamby's point. Maybe that's what you pose to the mayor with the charge to this group. You know, if that's something he makes in the charge or doesn't make in the charge. But one way or another, if that's something that most commissioners are interested in, we do need to figure out ways to get it in front of either this group or the full commission so that we can get feedback from the commissioners.
I think that I would, and I guess I'm going back. When can we talk about this again a little bit more in depth? Is February or January too late? I guess that's where I'm headed with.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we know we're concentrating on the neighborhood leaders in January. So maybe we will pick up this conversation on the citizens' participatory budget in February. And if we can kind of maneuver that to Mike's point, having a work session to move us forward. So to be in increments is what I would think would possibly work. Does that sound a good idea that we put this on the calendar for our committee in February, and then we can figure out how we move forward? Because if somebody doesn't take it up and we just say, oh, we're going to leave it to the commission, it's not going to get done. Or it's not going to get done in a timely manner. Somebody has to quarterback this. So I'm suggesting we'll look at it in February, and however that, drizzles out, whether it's which would probably be a work session. And then we can go from there. But at least we'll have some from this committee. So can we put that on the calendar that doesn't need to be a vote. We're just doing it, right? We ain't voting for nothing today. We all in consensus, right?
Well, I think there's the three commissioners, you're going to work on a mission statement and some of the things that you'd like to work on and send that back to the mayor, and he would make the charge to the group.
And the things that we're recommending from you, that's just part of our work, right? We're good. We don't have to vote on anything.
And when you say the things that we're recommending specifically,
not recommending to you. We talked about looking back at the MOU, the survey for the leaders, and outputting outcomes. Those do not record, or do they necessitate a vote?
The questionnaire distribution, if y'all want to do that, since it'll show up with the commissioners, we can say, this was officially recommended by the Prosperity Package Committee. That'd be good. The other things I don't think would require that, but just for your clarity purposes and for the minutes, that's fine if you'd like to act on that.
Mike, please give us a motion on those 4 things.
I move that we direct the manager to work on those 4 things and communicate with the mayor and commission.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Fantastic. And the second part, and now that Commissioner Williams brought up about the citizens participatory package or project, where are we with the grant writer? Mr. Blaine, what was that deadline again?
Haley, yeah, go ahead, Haley.
It's this Thursday, November 19th.
Okay. So we won't know anything until we get back together in January on the grant writing, unless something great happens weird. Okay, is that
That's right? Unless we get a perfect applicant pool. So fingers crossed.
Perfect applicant pool that we got to bring in here. I get it. Okay. Everybody, anybody? Mike, didn't you make a motion? Didn't somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I'll do it again. Make a motion to adjourn.
Hey,
In favor? Aye.
aye.
Ayes have it. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank